UK inflation did indeed hit a fresh 40-year high in June, new figures showed this morning. The consumer price index was 9.4% higher than in June 2021, as rising petrol and diesel prices and dearer food saw the cost of living crisis intensify. CPI inflation to 2.5% this time last year has risen for 9 months in a row, and it gives me no pleasure to say this, inflation will likely get worse before it gets better. CPI inflation of 9.4% in June was already higher than expected, but RPI inflation, that's measured by the retail price index, which includes housing costs, was 11.8% up in June. Now check out the producer price index, PPI, the cost of the outputs that firms sell to wholesalers. That was up 16.5% during the year to June, pointing to more inflation in the supply chain. Even more worrying, in my view, is that the PPI inputs index up an astonishing 24%. That shows the sky-high costs that firms pay for the inputs they need to provide the goods and services they then sell onto us. Again, that points to more inflation to come. So it strikes me, with producer PPI inflation way above the CPI, the consumer price index, that price pressures in the pipeline will eventually feed through into the inflation we see in the shops. And I'd go further, arguing that even today's CPI inflation number is a serious underestimate of the price rises many of us are actually living with, because the cost of essentials has been going up by much more than that official 9.4% CPI inflation measure. The ONS data shows that gas prices, they're up 95% since last June. Electricity is now 53% more expensive. Petrol and diesel is up 42% on average over the last year, says the ONS. And home insurance, that's 23% dearer. So my point is that if you're from a less well-off household, you of course spend a much higher share of your income on the essentials, not least fuel and utilities. So for millions of families already struggling, the cost of living is actually rising by much more than the 9.4% headline CPI inflation number. But with even the CPI set to go higher over the coming months, the Bank of England's Monetary Policy Committee will surely put interest rates up when it next meets in early August. And that's our On the Money question today. How high will UK inflation go?